Every 2 weeks, millions of people experience the same moment. The paycheck hits, and for a few hours, honestly, sometimes just a few minutes, everything feels okay again. The bank balance looks healthy, there's this little wave of relief, and then it starts, bills go out, rent disappears, car payment leaves, groceries, subscriptions, insurance. One by one, they quietly drain that account back down. And before you've barely had time to enjoy it, the paycheck is gone. 2 weeks later, the whole thing starts over. Work hard, get paid, start over. Work hard, get paid, start over. And here's the uncomfortable truth that most people never really stop to think about. For the average person, this cycle lasts approximately 40 years. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't work hard enough, but because the paycheck system itself, the very thing that's supposed to give you financial security, quietly keeps people stuck. Today, we're going to dig into exactly why that is. Why your paycheck, the thing that feels like progress, is often the very thing standing between you and real wealth. And once you see it clearly, you really can't unsee it. Let me start with a simple question. If earning a regular paycheck was the path to wealth, wouldn't most working people eventually get there? But look at the actual numbers. According to Federal Reserve data, nearly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And here's the part that really stops people. About 1/3 of people earning over $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. So this clearly isn't just a low-income problem. Something else is going on. Here's what I think is really happening. A paycheck gives you the feeling of financial progress. It arrives, the account looks full, everything feels fine. But in reality, for most people, it's just keeping them running in place. Think about what actually happens every time that money lands in your account. Your balance resets, bills get paid, life continues, and then you wait for the next one. But here's what doesn't happen during that cycle. Wealth doesn't grow. And over time, without even realizing it, the system quietly trains your brain to think in 2-week survival windows. Paycheck comes in, bills go out, wait for the next one. It becomes so normal that you stop questioning it. But wealth isn't built in 2-week cycles. Wealth is built over years and decades, and when your entire financial mindset is organized around the next pay period, long-term thinking becomes surprisingly hard to do. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Imagine someone starts out earning $45,000 a year. Over time, they get promoted. Income climbs to $60,000, then $80,000. Eventually, they're clearing $100,000 a year. From the outside, that looks like serious progress. But inside the paycheck system, something very predictable happens. Expenses climb right along with it. The apartment becomes a nicer apartment. The used car becomes a new car. Vacations get a little more expensive. Restaurants start replacing home cooking more often. Economists actually have a name for this. They call it lifestyle inflation. And it's sneaky because none of those individual upgrades feel irresponsible. They feel earned. But collectively, they quietly absorb every income increase before it ever has a chance to become wealth. There's also a psychological piece to this that doesn't get talked about enough. A steady paycheck creates a really powerful sense of safety. Even if you have almost nothing saved, that next paycheck 2 weeks away feels like a safety net. As long as the money keeps coming in, things feel manageable, under control. And that feeling of comfort, as good as it feels, quietly kills long-term thinking. It reduces the urgency to invest. It discourages risk. It keeps people focused on maintaining today's lifestyle instead of building tomorrow's wealth. And this can go on for decades without anyone really noticing. Here's something that I find genuinely fascinating. Many truly wealthy people don't rely on paychecks at all. Not primarily, anyway. Instead, they've built systems that generate money whether they're working or not. Investments, businesses, assets. Research from the IRS and various wealth studies consistently shows that a huge portion of millionaire income comes from investments, capital gains, dividends, and business ownership, not wages. And this is a big part of why wealth accelerates so quickly for people once they reach a certain point. Assets keep working in the background. A paycheck stops the moment you stop showing up. There's one more hidden issue with paycheck income that most people overlook. Your paycheck is directly tied to your time. You're trading hours for money, and no matter how much you earn per hour, there are only so many hours in a week. Assets don't have that limitation. A single investment can quietly grow for decades without you lifting a finger. Historically, the S&P 500 has averaged around 10% annual returns over long periods. And when you invest consistently and let compounding do its thing, the numbers become almost hard to believe. Take $500 a month, that's it. Invested consistently into a simple index fund at that historical 10% return, after 20 years, you'd be sitting on roughly $380,000. Not bad, but keep going. Just one more decade, and something dramatic happens after 30 years. That same $500 a month grows to over $1,100,000. And here's the part that really gets me. You only personally put in around $180,000 of your own money to get there. The other $900,000 plus. That came purely from compounding, from time doing the heavy lifting while you went on living your life. Compounding doesn't care about your job title or your pay period. It cares about one thing only: time in the market. So this creates two very different financial journeys. The first is the paycheck path. Income rises slowly over time. Expenses rise right alongside it. Savings grow gradually, if at all, and financial life feels stable, but never really transformative. The second is the asset path. Your paycheck might still be your starting point, but instead of letting it all flow out into expenses, a portion gets consistently converted into investments. Over time, those investments grow, then they start generating their own income, and eventually they begin replacing parts of the paycheck itself. That's how wealth actually develops for most people. Quietly, gradually, almost invisibly at first, and then all at once. Here's something worth really sitting with. Most people assume the turning point toward wealth is a bigger salary. Just make more money and everything gets better. But in reality, the real turning point is something different. It's the moment you stop treating your paycheck as money to spend and start treating it as fuel for building assets. That one mental shift changes everything. Instead of asking, "What can I afford right now?" the question becomes, "What can I build with this income?" That's a completely different game. After really digging into how the paycheck system works, here's what I keep coming back to. The paycheck itself isn't the enemy, it's just a tool. But if that tool only ever gets used to fund consumption, to pay bills, maintain a lifestyle, and reset every 2 weeks, it almost never leads to real wealth. But if that same paycheck is used to consistently build assets, the outcome becomes completely different. The difference isn't income, it's what you do with the income. Let me make this concrete. Take two people earning the exact same salary, $70,000 a year. Person A spends most of it maintaining their lifestyle. Nothing reckless, just normal life. Person B invests a portion every single month, nothing dramatic, maybe a few $100s. In year 1, the difference looks almost invisible, but give it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Compound growth quietly transforms those small, consistent investments into something dramatically larger. That's the engine behind most millionaires, not massive salaries, not lucky breaks, consistency, time, and owning assets. Your paycheck was never designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to pay you for your work, and it does that job fine. But wealth? Wealth usually comes from something different, from ownership, from investments, from assets that keep growing long after the work that created them is done. Once you really understand that distinction, the whole paycheck cycle starts to look different. It stops being the destination and starts being the starting point. So the next time your paycheck lands, try looking at it with fresh eyes. Instead of asking, "How long will this last?" ask something different. How much of this can I turn into something that keeps growing? Because the real path to wealth almost always begins the moment someone stops depending entirely on their paycheck and starts quietly building assets in the background. And honestly, that's exactly the kind of financial truth I love digging into on this channel. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe. We break down how money actually works every week, without the jargon and without the noise. Check the description below for trusted brokers in the US and Canada if you're ready to start putting your paycheck to work. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.